808 at KFOR, Schmidt, Carol, Dale, and Jeff. Sunshine, 69 degrees. We'll warm up to about 92 today, and we'll hear more from former President Trump here in a moment. The first infrastructure talks going to resume today after President Biden rejected the latest Republican offer. Still, lots of money apart, Carol.
You know, they are. I mean, both sides are talking about the progress that they're making, but, you know, when you put the figures down on paper, you're right. They're not anywhere close to where they need to be, but both sides still expressing confidence that they can get there somehow.
The proposal included an increase in spending of roughly $50 billion over the previous GOP offer. Biden says it didn't meet the objectives to grow the economy and tackle the climate crisis and also create new jobs. Here's Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm says President Biden has included issues that Republican lawmakers support, but still have not included in the GOP counterproposal.
Investing in the transmission grid, expanding and supporting nuclear, removing carbon pollution from fossil fuel industry by putting pipes underground.
Last I hear from Granholm when it comes to hope. There is still quite a bit of hope when it comes to reaching a deal between President Biden and the Republicans.
The president still has hope. Joe Manchin still has hope. We all have hope that it can happen. They'll be talking on Monday, but I can tell you the House will start their markup on Wednesday.
So Shelley Moore Capito has continued to provide effort and offer goodwill, and Biden's thankful for that.
The Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimondo, yesterday joined George Stephanopoulos, and she told him, you know, this isn't a do-or-die thing. She said that, but the White House isn't going to be sitting at the table for forever. Unfortunately, the president is facing some pressure from progressives like Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They want the negotiations to end. They want to pass a large infrastructure package on their own. But Raimondo and Biden don't agree. They say, you know what, folks out there want a bipartisan deal. If we don't get that, then we'll consider other options. But it's just way too soon to start saying we can do this on our own. The most recent offer from Biden was $1 trillion in new spending, while the Republican counteroffer of nearly $980 billion only includes roughly $300 billion in new infrastructure spending, which is a substantial difference. Also causing friction, we talked about this last week, how are you going to pay for it? Biden has sidestepped his initial call for raising the corporate rate tax to 28%, now proposed creating a minimum 15% corporate tax. Republicans want it to be funded with user fees, but the White House says they will not agree to do that. So if Democrats do push this forward on their own, they're definitely going to face some resistance from Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, who oppose using the reconciliation process.
You can't go reconciliation and claim to be somebody that can work on a bipartisan level, right? That's right. Where Joe doesn't want to go. The other side of this too, with Republicans, there is a lot of money out there, and there's been a lot of spending that's gone on. Have you spent every penny yet when it comes to the COVID relief? The answer is no. And it varies state to state, obviously, with many Republicans, McConnell pointing to that. You have money in the piggy bank, so to speak, to spend on things. Why not use some of that that's left over when it comes to this infrastructure?
You know, McConnell had made the comment earlier that he was going to do everything he could do to stop the Biden agenda. And then they kind of jumped on him and said, well, are you doing this because you just don't want Joe Biden to have a win? Or are you doing this because are you doing it because you don't think it's good for the country? Because those are two different issues right there. And Joe Biden definitely has his agenda. He wants to grow the economy. He wants to tackle the climate crisis. He wants to create new jobs, and he just doesn't think that the latest proposal from the Republicans will do all three of those. But he is meeting again today with Senator Moore Capito to talk about this.
You don't want to lose jobs, and you don't want to lose corporations overseas because of this tax deal. Find a number, and the problem is